Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Racing Debrief. And we have some exciting and interesting racing to talk about. Uh, so, NASCAR, of course, at Daytona. Um, and we got my new Ty Gibbs hat. Look at that; it's pretty cool. I got the shirt as well for the car. Again, I had to go out there get the new stuff. It's rare that Ty Gibbs has a sponsor that you can get merchandise of. So that was cool. Fortunately, it came actually on Saturday, so right before the race started, I was able to put it on, and that was cool. But as for the racing itself, um, we had the Xfinity race on Saturday. Good race. A little bit of crashing in the beginning of it, and it went pretty quick. I'm gonna be honest, like I gotta look up who won it. I really do. For some reason, it left my mind. I was like, all right, let's start. I forgot. Ryan Truex won. Okay, yep. No, I remember that now. Um, yeah, the race that for Xfinity wasn't super destructive, super crazy. Um, but yeah, overall, again, good win. Ryan Truex out there. I'd like to see him, be able to get a full time Xfinity spot. It'd be cool if Joe Gibbs Racing was able to give him a second or give him a full time seat. Give him a shot there. Obviously, he's done well in his part time seasons. Last year he won Dover. This year he won Dover and then won Daytona. So, he's done pretty well in Xfinity. Obviously, 3 wins is solid. So, 3 wins on a part time basis as well. Very solid. Um, if Joe Gibbs Racing can put something together for him, that'd be really, really cool. But we'll see what happens. Um, the Cup race, right? This is the main thing we're here to talk about. Um, Cup race was pretty chaotic. Obviously, Xfinity can be crazy, but for them, it's not so close to the playoffs, right? There's still a few races left. They got Darlington, Bristol, Watkins Glen. There's one other track that they have. Xfinity has. Let's see. Yeah, Darlington, Atlanta, Watkins Glen, Bristol. So they don't have as many, or they have more opportunities for somebody to make the playoffs. So it's a little less crazy. And you got Atlanta still, so that I think could be more wild for Xfinity. But Daytona's the last, wild card anybody can win race to make the playoffs for the Cup Series. And so, next week's Darlington, and it's probably not going to be like a race of somebody random winning. I mean, Eric Jones has a shot. He's always good there. But for the most part, you're not going to see some guy from 30th in points come up and win a race. So you get that at Daytona. And, obviously we had that. And a few big crashes, right? There was 3 big incidents. I think towards the end of the race, there was like 5 guys that weren't in crashes, which I believe coming to the line that changed a little bit as well. But you had the first really big crash, which was Corey LaJoie's Masterclass. Corey LaJoie got roasted more online for that one. Made a terrible push. Somehow, some people think it's Kyle Larson's fault. I'm sure Corey LaJoie will on his podcast when that comes out. So, yeah, Corey LaJoie made a terrible block or a terrible push on Noah Gragson, got him sideways, took out a good chunk of the field. Some guys got a lot of damage, but a lot of cars didn't get damages when spinning. Um, I know like Kyle Larson got a little door contact, but he was still going. Ty Gibbs got spun, but he didn't get any damage. So you had a lot of drivers do that. There's some other ones on there, but those are the 2 I really noticed. A lot of guys, would have spun or slowed down or something, but nothing major. But then you had guys, Ross Chastain into the wall, trying to get into the playoffs. That's going to hurt him there. Guys like that's unfortunate. Again, Corey LaJoie, weekly things that he's doing. Later in the race, he almost pulled up into the field coming off the pits. So Yeah, no, just get this man out of here. Get this bum out of here. Um, so yeah, there's that. Um, Going towards the end of the race, we've seen another big crash. Michael McDowell flips almost over. The car stays on the ground, or doesn't stay on the ground, but it doesn't go fully upside down. After the changes last week when Corey LaJoy flipped, they added a little second fin to the side on the rear window on the right side, trying to keep the cars on the ground a little bit more. The way he spun, I that was crazy. I genuinely, for a split second, thought he's going into the catch fence. Like, it just looked like that car was going to lift and go up. And I do think if Bowman wasn't there, he very well could have, right? Alex Bowman's car was there and McDowell kind of hit it. I think if Bowman's not there, McDowell could go into that catch fence. And it was close. There was a little bit of a push there. I don't even remember who gave him the push. But he got a push, spun sideways, went down the track. Joey Logano hit him, and his car went and like up the banking. You've seen Joey Logano, like his glasses like got moved when they showed him in car from how hard of a hit it was. Because he just, right into McDowell. And again, McDowell's car lifts up. So, it wasn't a bad flip, but again, the car is getting off the ground is a problem. So, that seemed like, okay, that's the worst we're going to get out of it tonight with cars flipping. Again, everybody said their piece on it, about the cars flipping, how it's obviously a problem. You expect cars to wreck. That's going to happen. But when we get cars flying through the air, that's obviously never a good thing. And it's definitely been an issue with the next-gen car. So, there's that. So NBC goes through the whole breakdown of how the cars are, going to stay on the ground and, all the stuff that NASCAR's done, roof flaps and the hood flaps and the little flap on the diffuser, adding the fin, obviously go through the whole thing like they do. And then 2 minutes later, Josh Berry flips and goes into the inside wall upside down, which was absolutely insane to watch. I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen, a car upside down fly into a wall like he did. That was a crazy moment. Definitely a little scary to watch there. And then obviously see the car like spin around, right? So he got turned, the car flips, slides into the wall, upside down, hits in the air, spins around, and then starts spinning on its roof. It's looking like a Beyblade, like how he's spinning around out here. They were able to flip him over, get him out the car, and he, thumbs up. And his interview was great from the infield care center. He's like, no, it wasn't as bad as it looks. Like, bruh. Oh man, that's great. So obviously, Josh Berry being okay getting out the car like that, fantastic to see. Definitely a wild crash, nervous moments waiting to see. What happened. But the thing that I feel is the biggest issue, obviously a lot of people have been saying with the bottom of the car being flat. I think the diffuser, obviously, is a big cause of it. People are obviously comparing it to the wing on the car tomorrow. We got a car tomorrow right here with the wing from back in the day. That would catch and flip a car. So, the diffuser's kind of done the similar thing. Obviously, the diffuser works at slower speed tracks for aerodynamic purposes. I don't know if we need a diffuser at Daytona and Talladega. Obviously, Michigan, Corey LaJoy flipped last week. We didn't talk about that. There was no racing debrief because it was on a Monday. And I didn't get a chance to record it. But, that flip last week, very similar to Josh Berry's flip this week. The thing that I think is really the issue is the way the car tomorrow used to flip would be when it got backwards, right? When it would flip around 180, the air would catch underneath the wing, flip it. like upside down. The thing with this car, with the diffuser, which we do have a car here, you can see the diffuser on the side of it. I think the main issue is when the car is going straight, you're fine. When it turns 90, that's the big issue, or just a little past 90, right? That's the thing. When the car's at 90, it's okay. When it gets a little past 90, you have just enough for the air to get underneath it, and that's when it starts to flip. Because they don't flip backwards, right? Again, the car tomorrow, it would catch on the air, the car would go flip upside down, right? That was your difference. You know, if the air catches on the wing, the car has to be going this way, spin completely around, flip. This car, really, it's not doing that. Once it gets backwards, it stays on the ground, right? Because all your stuff works. This didn't have as much. You didn't have a hood flap, right? You don't have the hood flap. Obviously, it doesn't have a diffuser flap. The roof flaps weren't as big, right? So this car would flip way easier. And again, with the wing, this, when it gets backwards, you're fine, right? Obviously, that spoiler is a little different. The roof flaps are bigger. They're way bigger than they used to be. And again, you have hood flaps. So backwards, this car's fine. It's when it gets a little bit past 90 degrees, right? Like this, right? So this is your track. If it gets a little past 90 like this is when the air is going to catch on probably the beginning of that, beginning of the diffuser. And it catches it just right and blows over. I really think that's the issue, is the angle of it, right? I don't think the cars they're not flipping, again, when they're backwards or whatever. It's the little past 90. That's the part that I think the car has the least downforce, or not downforce, but the most likely to flip, right? It's got the least resistance to flipping. I mean, I don't know how you fix it. You know, what do you put, like a little flap that comes down on the side of the diffuser? You know, when the roof flaps go up, do you put a little, obviously, like right here on your diffuser, this is the middle part, it has a flap that drops down there. You know, could you put one on the sides, right? Could you do something like that where you have another flap that drops? That could be a solution, because I don't really think you need the diffuser, but especially at a track like the super speedways, I don't think you need a diffuser. But again, if that's part of their package that they want to run with, you know, maybe again having something like that, because that's I think is the issue. A lot of people, you know, say the flat bottom of the car, which obviously it is. I mean, it literally looks like this. It's not any different than your race car, right? And again, this is a good comparison of the difference, right? The bottom of the car. This is realistic to what they look like. So this had a lot of pieces, right? A lot of metal, a lot of suspension parts, everything there. This, completely flat. So there's a lot more area for air to just go right underneath it than this is going to get caught a lot more. So this is good using those cars. I think that the main thing, again, is the diffuser. I think getting that sorted. Could you put another flap there on the side to drop down to help with, you know, keeping the car on the ground? Potentially. You know, could you do a third, you know, here's something I was looking at with the roof flaps, right? You got one, and then you got two. Could you put one like right here on the side, so if the car gets sideways, it pops up directly sideways? Because this one pops up kind of at an angle, straight. Can we get one right on the side? Like, is that possible? I'm just trying to think of things. Obviously, I don't study aerodynamics and, like, you know, wind tunnels and stuff like they, you know, have, you know, NASCAR has that ability, and obviously have the data, right? I don't have the data in that, but I'm just thinking of solutions, you know, kind of thinking out loud of what could keep the cars on the ground, right? Or those options. I'm sure they're going to work on something. You know, having the amount of flips have been a problem. Obviously, it's not exclusive to the Cup Series, right? We've seen a flip in Xfinity at Michigan as well. That seemed more like a system failure. With the Xfinity car that flipped, I don't remember the driver, I'm gonna be honest. Um, the roof flap seemed to not deploy when the car flipped. So that's a separate issue. But again, that's something that they're obviously going to look at or will have looked at by the time this video goes out. They'll have looked at that. But the thing is, they're going to work on it. They'll fix something. I know they will. Obviously, the adding of the second fin, you got the little fin here. So adding a second one on the side, something that they worked on very quick. I mean, that was, just a few days. They're like, all right, this is what we're adding to the car, starting at Daytona. Now, did it help? Probably not. There was a little bit of a bump on the track that Josh Berry hit. He also kind of being pushed along by Austin Cindric going sideways, so you got to factor those things in. The track where it was paved on the back straight was not completely flat. So again, he slightly hit the bump. Cindric's behind him as they're sliding together. So again, that's a factor in it. But I don't know. I think there's just a lot of looking at the data. Obviously, taking that car, they're going to take that back and be like, we're going to look at that. But yeah, that is the thing on that. Obviously, the safety of the next gen car is a crucial piece. Obviously, the roof of the car did not collapse at all. That structure held. That was brilliant. The car took the impact of the front of it very well. It broke more than it used to. When the next gen car first came out, that collapsed in and absorbed the energy. When Josh Berry was upside down, and again, when he landed on the roof, slid on the roof, nothing of that broke. The top of it, you would not really look at, besides obviously the roof number, it's completely scraped off. You wouldn't think that, you wouldn't think that car was upside down, right, and landed on its roof. So very, very good on that part. Just get the cars to not flip over, and I think you're good. It was interesting that I did use a 4 car to demonstrate that. But yeah, either way, you go into the end of the race, and who's gonna win it, right? Who you gotta win? You got Kyle Busch and Harrison Burton in the front row, both guys that need a win to make the playoffs. Very weird to say Kyle Busch needs to win to make the playoffs, but he does. If you're rooting for Bubba Wallace or Ross Chastain, not the front row that you really want, or really the top 10 that you wanted going to the end of that race. A lot of guys that were below the cut line that could win, right? Obviously, you had a few guys out there that weren't running for points, Parker Resloff and Cody Ware, so that was fine. You had Christopher Bell up there, that was fine. But outside of that, most of the top 10 was guys that didn't have wins that were below the cut line, right? If you're Bubba Wallace or Ross Chastain or fans of those drivers, you wanted a Christopher Bell win, Parker Resloff, Cody Ware, or I think Chris Buescher was somewhere up there, Ty Gibbs was up there, like one of those guys that are already above on the cut line. So, again, Bell with the win, Gibbs and Buescher above in points. Those guys are fine to win. If you're a fan of, Chastain or Bubba Wallace. So, goes to the start of the race or start of the restart. Looks like Kyle Busch has it. He gets a little far ahead. I'm watching my parents, and my dad's like, he got out in the front. He's good. He'll win. I'm like, nah, he's too far out. And Kyle Busch was too far out coming off turn 2 on the final lap. Harrison Burton got a big push going by. He was able to take the lead from Kyle Busch, and Harrison Burton just holds on, right? Able to block Kyle Busch, a little bit of contact. Looks like he's going to spin out for a second, goes below the yellow line from contact, cuts back up the track, and wins the race. Just awesome to see for him. Obviously, his parents celebrating, his mom on the pit box going wild, and of course his dad, Jeff Burton, doing commentary for NBC. See his excitement. It was very cool to see that. Obviously for Harrison Burton winning, he's not going to be in that 21 car next year, so that type of thing is cool. For all of them. But for the playoff wise, having a guy that was 34th in points of the 34 full time drivers win, obviously shows a little bit of the playoff system being a problem, right? I don't want to get into all that today. I think that the win for Harrison Burton should be the focus, but when you look at guys like realistically for the playoffs, of the 4 drivers that aren't going to be locked in currently, Ross Chastain, Bo Wallace, who are below the cut line, Chris Buescher, Ty Gibbs, 2 of those drivers will miss the playoffs. Now, most likely of those 4, it's Chastain and Bubba Wallace. They are both minus, I think, 26 for Chastain and 24 for Bubba Wallace. So, being down 20 plus points going into Darlington's difficult. The driver with the best points outlook is Martin Truex. He's plus 58. So, basically, at the end of the first stage, if he doesn't lose 10 points, he's locked in. Right? So, Truex is virtually locked in. Right? He needs 2 points at Darlington. So, realistically, finish 9th in stage 2, right? And he's in a good spot. So, Truex, we'll say he's locked in. He's not, but he's locked in, right? So, Ty Gibbs, plus 39. Buescher, I think he's plus 16 or 17. Let me see. He's plus 21. Okay, he's plus 21. So, Bo Wallace is minus 21. Ross Chastain, minus 27. So, yeah, it's going to be difficult for them to make the playoffs. So, again, when you get these guys like that win, make the playoffs, it is a difficult situation. Obviously, Harrison Burton's not going to do anything in the playoffs, but he's going to finish 16th in points compared to some of these other guys. It was like Martin Truex, was it 2021 or 2022 that he was, it's 22 because obviously he won New Hampshire last year and Sonoma and Dover. So 2022, Martin Truex was 3rd, 4th. He was 4th. He was 4th in the regular season standings, and he missed the playoffs because of how many winners there were. So he was the 4th best in points, and he finished 17th in point standings that year. So obviously it's not as drastic, but Chastain currently is 18th in the playoff grid and is 14th in the driver standing. So that means that a few guys behind him have wins: Suarez, Briscoe, and Harrison Burton. Harrison Burton is still 34th in points. Even with a win, Harrison Burton is 34th in points. He is the lowest down in points of anybody that is a full-time driver. So, again, cool to see him win. Cool to see the Wood Brothers get their 100th win. That's something that's been kind of talked about really since 2017. Ryan Blaney won Pocono for them. So, it's been a discussion for years of when they're going to get that 100th win. Obviously, was Ryan Blaney going to do it? Matt DiBenedetto when he was in that car, Paul Menard, Harrison Burton. There's a lot of guys in there. Who was going to get that win for the Wood Brothers? And Harrison Burton did it at Daytona. So it's cool to see. But, playoff-wise, definitely interesting. So that's that. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Next week, we have Darlington. We'll see you guys then.